Checkpoint, thank you for staying with us. It's finally the second hour of the show, and we get to discuss about the latest developments that have played out in the course of the weekend. What a week it has been, from the first State of the Nation address by President William Ruto to the impeachment of Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza in the Senate, where, mind you, the Senate actually took her back to the county of Meru. So amekalia kiti, short to say. Well, we'll definitely take a look at some of the intrigues that rose. I'm joined by Gloria Oroba, nominated senator. It's been a while, mind you.
It's been
I see you around, but I don't know if you see me. It's good to see you in person.
Thank you for having me.
How is it going so far in the Senate?
It's good. It's good. I'm learning.
Well, we'll get to other matters later on. It's definitely great to have you with us. Equally joined by Fanya Mambo Kinuthia, a lawyer. We'll definitely get to establish a lot more a little bit later on. I think the mics are okay now, or not yet? Well, we'll get to interact with you, Fanya Mambo, in just but a few. I understand we're okay. So, uko?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you.
How's the long holiday treating you?
I'm happy. Though
Are you planting trees tomorrow?
Diwali. I'm enjoying Diwali.
You need to plant trees, I mean.
I've already planted, and I intend to plant more.
You'll do so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful place to be, okay. I would say, yes.
Well, let's get into the thick of it, and perhaps let's start with Kawira Mwangaza seeing the light, as she was 2 times lucky in the Senate as she survived a second attempt to remove her from office. All the 7 charges found by the senator to be unsubstantiated by the senators, rather, where they dismissed the impeachment motion by the Meru County Assembly. And those 2 days at the Senate, Gloria, definitely showed us some utterances which were used as evidence, which are unprintable and definitely regrettable. And it sort of bears testament to the sexist nature of our politics in the country. As you give your reaction to what we witnessed in those 2 days, perhaps give us your take on the gender issue that definitely played out on the floor of the House, even as senators voted and not divided on party lines. Yeah.
First of all, thank you for having me. Congratulations to Governor Kawira. In fact, the tagline now is that Governor ni mama. And people have to just accept that the people of Meru, they went and voted for a woman called Kawira Mwangaza. The impeachment, you know, we interrogated everything that was tabled. We were trying to see whether they could substantiate all 7 counts, the charges that they had put. Yeah. And really, there was no evidence of any of the charges. It was a lot of, I would say, political witch hunt. And I can tell you that in each and every charge, I personally had a whole team. We sat down, we interrogated the evidence, interrogated all the affidavits that were placed, what they were terming was the IFMIS, and you know the accounting in terms of misappropriation of funds, all of that. There was nothing to substantiate any of the charges. So it was very sad that now when we listened to Kawira Mwangaza's side of the story, we got to see now, you know, the issues, the patriarchy that was there. We got to see that really it was a group of men who had come together and decided that this cannot be our governor. And because she's a woman, in fact, it was, I was sitting in Senate and it took me back to campaign times, because, you know, in Kisii County, we faced the same exact thing. Yeah. So it was very sad, and I'm glad that even the male senators in the House were able to see through that, and they were able to say that really, at the Senate, we are there for oversight. And when it comes to impeachment, we must be able to substantiate that indeed, based on the Constitution, the charges that have been brought, they have the evidence, they are weighty enough, and they surmount to an impeachment motion that can actually be taken seriously. Okay. So for me, I think it was again a learning moment that this country, we require some time. You know, as a woman in politics, I was able to sit there and imagine, you know, some of the clips that we were watching, I was just goosebumps, because, you know, these are things that if you're a woman in politics, you have definitely experienced. Yeah, so what I pray for now, and actually one thing, Jesse, we were having this conversation with my fellow senators, and when we were deliberating, fine, we are going to send her back. It seems that the relationship is irreparable. But it, you know, everyone, I spoke to a couple of MCAs who actually reached out to me while we were in the precincts of parliament.
From Meru?
Yes, from Meru.
Okay.
And they sat me down, they were telling me, you know, huyu mama hawezi kufanya kazi na sisi, and they were basically lamenting that please don't send this woman back, right? And I was telling them and thinking to myself, everyone claims, the MCAs, when you talk to them, they tell you sisi ndio tuko na ground. We are the ones talking on behalf of Meru. When you speak to all the leaders of Meru, everyone claims that they are the ones talking on behalf of Meru, including the governor herself.
Yeah.
So I was having this conversation with Ledama and some of the senators, and we said, you know what, we need to bring a petition to the floor of the House invoking Article 192, which means basically that we discuss it and debate it at the Senate, and we dissolve Meru County Assembly so that now everyone who claims to say they have a ground, they go back and we have a fresh elections, and whoever the people of Meru will give us, and I'm talking about everyone, every single person elected in Meru should go back, seek again the, you know, because it's the power it belongs to the people. Yeah, the sovereign power belongs to the people. Let them go. And then they come back, elected. Whoever makes it, we deal with them. Because I think now, when you talk about mediation and what, I don't think that is it. I think let's just dissolve Meru County.
Well, that's interesting. Luckily, we have a lawyer right here with us. So before you get to that issue about Article 192, dissolving the county as a practical option, let's delve into the legal issues that arose from this particular impeachment. Number one, having elected leaders, MCAs, vote to impeach another elected leader who's a governor. Perhaps, is that an oversight from the creators of the Constitution from where you sit? And equally, talk to us about whether we should relook at how we impeach governors. Should it be both the governor and the deputy governor, perhaps to avoid instances where the deputy works against the governor?
Thank you very much. I think to start with, I started my career as a lawyer, and then along the way I became a mediator. And I have come to love both, and especially mediation. And I will tell you why. You see, sometimes when I started mediation, we used to come to family matters, and somebody would come and tell you, oh, my husband is coming home late, oh, there's insecurity, the neighbor's dog are very ferocious, they might bite him. And as a mediator who was beginning my job, I used to take that for it. But with experience, you get to learn it's got nothing to do with insecurity or the neighbor's dogs or all the problems she's telling you. The core of the problem is that there is insecurity on her part. She's thinking, huyu mtu ametoka kwa dogo dogo, ametoka nyumba dogo, and so on and so forth. The problem is that Senate has not dealt with the problem in Meru, and they have not dealt with the problem in Kenya. This is the problem. MCAs in this country are earning very little money, less than 100,000. That's their take home. Now, this person, when he was campaigning, and the bulk of them are young in most places, when they were campaigning, what did they tell people? Nitatengeneza hii barabara, nitawekea stima, nitawekea maji. Then they go to the county assembly and they realize that that is not possible. Because like in Meru, and I'm lucky, I hold the highest office in this country, the office of a citizen. You know, the ordinary citizen holds the highest office. You can ask anybody any question, and nobody should ask you anything because you are the voter. So I'm in a very good place.
All right.
And so when we speak to the fellow holders of the highest office in this country, who are the citizens, they tell you, this MCA, there's one who has been roaming around with his payslip. Ukimwomba 100 anakuambia angalia payslip yangu, it's 89,000. I don't have money. It's not even enough for me and my wife. The governor of Meru was allocated, I think, 14 billion, which she's trying to control on her own and to come and launch development projects in every ward. These MCAs, it's 1 year down the line and they are being told, hatutakuchagua tena. The problem here is got nothing to do with the governor performing or not performing. It has got nothing to do with her not having the support of the ground. She probably does have a lot of support. It doesn't even have a lot to do with what you are seeing the men doing there and all that behavior of man becoming a patriarchal society. In my view, this boils down to the county resources. And how these county resources are allocated. And the fact that MCAs are voting, you know, it's like a bank teller. Unahesabu pesa, parrrr. By the end of the day, you know how much your salary is. So today you counted 14 million, 15 million. These people are passing billions. at the county assembly. Okay. They are the people who vote for this money to be used by the governor. But the governor, in implementation of projects, is probably not considering them or not allocating them any money whatsoever so that they can be able to develop their own wards.
All right.
And I think it's a high time now the governor of Meru decided to manage the politics of her county. That's why mediation is important. What happened in Meru will happen in other counties. And the reason it will happen is because MCAs are trying to fight for their own survival. They are trying to fight for the next election. And most of them are young, and there's nothing else they can do other than come and say, I promised this road and I have delivered this road. Now, having said that, there's also one thing I want to tell you about the same issue. The constitutional provision that the governor succeeds the deputy governor succeeds the government, in my view, is a bad constitutional provision because they were elected on a joint ticket, even the president and the deputy. Okay, for the presidency it will be bad because then having a national election will be very tricky. But forever parliament is having problem with president. But they don't resort to impeaching the president. The provision is there. In fact, when was the last time you had parliament even considering impeaching the president? Okay. Because they know that for the nation, it's not a very good thing. It's not the best thing to do. This person was elected by a majority of Kenyans. Coming as parliament, 290 members, and trying to get 2/3 majority and impeaching the president is not the best idea. And MCAs also on their part have to learn from parliament that it's not every day parliament wakes and decides we have a problem with the president, we impeach him. We have a problem with the president. By now President Ruto would have survived 2 impeachment motions if we were to go by the example of the MCAs. So I think MCAs need to style up. They need to realize that that is a provision that should come as a last resort, really. Right. There are better ways of handling problems at the county, and Kawira Mwangaza must manage the politics in her county. And she has a problem because when she goes back home, she's going back to that acerbic working environment. And she has to find a way. In fact, in my view, she should not have gotten to Senate. She should have found a way to manage the politics at home.
So I guess the obvious question is, how do you manage politics? Mind you, you're an independent